I'll go on the record and say Lord of the Rings exceptionally better than Harry Potter.
Hey.
What you gonna do against a Shire?
You ain't feeding me nothing against the Baggins.
You can't compete with the Bagginses. I'm thinking we're gonna test out some robots today. So we got
Taking a robot for a walk.
We got 2 robots on this boat. So we got the IREEL 2, currently unreleased. We got a SLX DC over there. And then we got a Curado DC. Where is it, that one?
Look at him saying it right.
Curado. We got a Curado over on this boat, so we're gonna be doing the DC IFC Showdown. Apparently there's other ones out there we haven't heard of, but these are the ones we're testing today.
And these are the ones that are the most common. Like there's the like $750 Daiwa version.
No thank you.
I'm interested to try anything else that's out there, but these are the ones that are readily available, and certainly the ones that I think are competing against each other for your hard-earned more than $250.
110%. What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. Today we wanted to talk about Skynet, robots, AI. I'm just kidding, but sort of not really. So we're talking about robot reels more specifically. We have here an unreleased, as of the filming of this video, but as of next week in real life, released, the Kastking IREEL 2, which has chip control of sorts, right? It's their IFC, which stands for Intelligent Frequency Control. There are other reels out there that exist as well that also have chips in them. Here's the SLX DC. So DC is Shimano. They also have a Curado.
So the Curado is the upgraded version of the SLX. Well, sort of. It's
you think you're better than me?
Nicer model,
okay.
But also has the chip control. So hence the DC digital chip.
So we wanted to talk briefly about the difference between these 3 reels as well as the price point. And then we've cast these around quite a bit, but we'll cast them on camera real quick, show you guys what that looks like, and talk about some of the differences. So which robot reel should you get? And or are you in the no technology for me ever, please? Don't look at those graphs, they're not there. So
I would also say I kind of want to talk a little bit about what might come next, because this is like iterations 1 and 2. Technically 3 if you include, you know, the DC equivalent. So
correctamundo.
There are some things that are going to happen in this space. I kind of want to talk about that too.
All right, so let's get into it. First and foremost, the price point. If you're getting a chipped reel, a computer reel, a Skynet reel, you're gonna spend a little bit more than you would on a normal bait caster. That's because you're getting the technology with it. The cheapest of the 3 options that we're looking at right here would be the SLX DC, which again is this one. So, okay. So the SLX DC comes with the Shimano DC chip. That digital control is pretty neat.
So what the chip is doing inside here is basically measuring with many like bursts of information, like in that chip, measuring how fast your spool is working. So there's kind of like a line where, depending on how fast it's reading your spool is going, it's going to apply those brakes for you. So it's doing the work, the settings don't matter as much, and it's gonna make you backlash less and have a maximized cast.
So you notice with the DC, it tends to be really easy to get a long distance cast, even with wind resistance baits. So for example, I have a buzz bait tied on right now. I can still get a much better distance on average than I could with my standard bait casting reels, because the DC is helping me out. In most ways, it's pretty much just your SLX reel. It does feel a little bit bigger. A lot of these chipped reels do feel bigger because they are a little bit bigger. They gotta make space for technology.
They gotta make space for the charger, they gotta make space for the module. So usually it's this section right here that gets a little chunkier.
So that's something to keep in mind. The price of the SLX DC, typically $189, $199, depending on where you buy it at. So close to 200 bucks. The next price jump up is gonna be this one right here. So talk to me about the Curado DC.
Curado DC, you're obviously getting, it's basically the same exact concept. You get the same exact chip technology, so no different, at least as far as I know, than what you get in the SLX.
Okay.
So the reason you're gonna spend 270 or 280 bucks on this versus the SLX is you're getting all the upgraded features of the Curado, which is sort of the upper echelon. You're starting to get into much more premium reel. You're getting a much better spool, you're getting better bearings, you're getting better setups, more quality, just total ingredients inside of this reel. So you're paying for that. Also, I will say this, and I should call this out now because our next one does not do this. The SLX DC and the Curado DC, they both actually make a crazy sound. Now, is the sound like important? It does let me know that the chip is doing something. So when you do this, I'll try and make it so you can hear. I'm just gonna cast it out and, oh, and of course I hit a, well, and of course I'm stuck, so now I'm over there.
All right, so since that went so well for Paul, instead I'm gonna show you guys. All right, So here's the SLX DC, got a buzzbait on there, it's windy. You guys hear that? It's gonna be hard to kind of pick that audio up on the GoPro. Here, one more time. Hopefully the audio picks up. There you go. Well, high-pitched buzzing sound is what you're gonna hear off of this. Now, the next reel we'll talk about, the Kastking IREEL 2, does not make that sound. That said, that doesn't mean that the chip isn't doing its thing, it's just a different kind of chip. Next up, let's talk about this guy. Okay, so this here is the Kastking IREEL 2. This is brand new. It is dropping at this year's ICAST 2024. We checked out the IREEL 1 way back in the day, as in last year. So last year at ICAST, it debuted. We got to test it out. So yeah, we got a chance to cast it around on the bank on the water day, which was really cool. And we were just bombing casts with the chatterbait, not trying to catch fish, just trying to test this reel out. And it will give you a lot of feedback. So it's going to tell you on an app, you basically just connect your reel, you choose fish now, and then it's recording all of that data. And if you don't use the app, we found out too, if you don't use the app with this, you go fish for a day, whatever, you come back, you can actually just upload all that data. So you can it's still recording even if you're not using the app in fish mode, for example. Some of the data that you can get back from this, which is really cool, is the casting speed, right? So at what speed am I bombing this bait out there? And that feedback can be helpful if you're trying to dial in, say, casting efficiency, efficacy, so you can, you know, just bomb longer casts. You can also get feedback on retrieve speed. So let's say that we're running a chatterbait, right? And with a chatterbait, you can do a lot of different things. Same with spinnerbait, crankbait, whatever. You can do different things with your cadence, with your speed. So you can hear that because it'll play on audio, or you can just read it out on the phone right there, instant feedback on retrieve speed. So let's say we catch a fish. Was I burning it? Was I kind of like twitch pausing it? Was I, you know, what was I doing with my cadence? I can have that data in the palm of my hand on my phone. And kind of neat.
It's more accurate than that, because a lot of times someone will say like, oh, I was burning it. What does
Were
that mean?
you?
Did you have a 6.4? Did you have an 8.3? Like, did you have a 10.1 speed reel? Like, what does burning it really mean? And it'll tell you in miles per hour. And the idea is not necessarily like, this is everything that you should need. This is what's available today in terms of information. Like, what can you get, you know, from what's limited that your reel can see? And that's what you're gonna see in the app.
And a lot of people will automatically say, and did automatically say on any video we dropped about this, we didn't ask for that. We don't need that. We're not recording that much data. That's not that valuable to me. And to them, I say, okay, cool, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
For data nerds, this is huge. For people who live to fish and fish to live, maybe this is huge. Bass pros, for example, tournament anglers, people who want that information now can have it. So I think that's cool, because as we know with the DCs, it does a great job of breaking control so that you can get longer casts. You're not bird's nesting a whole bunch, but it doesn't give you any data. The IFC, the intelligent frequency control that is in the Kastking IREEL 2 and the reel itself, that gives you data, which is cool. Here's the thing though, to those people who are like, I don't care about the data, I hear you, check this out. I didn't even know this was a thing until we got this reel and I started testing out the app more, because when we fished this at ICAST 2023, was that, oh my God, like what year is it for a second there? So when we fished this at ICAST last year, all we were hearing was like speed, retrieve speed, casting distance, casting speed, retrieve speed. That's all you were getting, right?
But you were also getting at the same time like weather and all that kind of stuff too, because it does know GPS and weather, so that's kind of cool too. But
so that's an added bonus for sure, because any of my guys who kept journals out there, like, you get it, this is helpful, and it's all in that app for you. Here's the thing though, what we didn't know is that there's actually breaking profiles. So you can see on the screen recording here, what you can do is you can select your profile based on the type of fishing you're doing or the type of lure that you're using, which is really cool. So if I want to be skipping, they got a skipping profile, and that's going to adjust 4 breaking metrics, as you can see on the screen right here. So it's dialed in control, and I can tell you it's extremely noticeable. I went from distance casting to flipping and pitching setup on this, and this became an amazing flipping and pitching reel. So anglers that can switch from casting a jig a distance and then instantly skipping under a dock or flipping and pitching under a boat or a dock like that, you know that you have to change things up, because if the weight of the lure doesn't change, you obviously have to change settings on the reel. So typically on your reel, you're gonna adjust the magnetic braking system on the side, usually external dial. A lot of reels now have an internal option as well, so there's usually little tabs that you can press and change, so that levels it up. Or you look at like the arc setting, they have the little circle piece in there with 3 different settings in there on the spool, which is cool. And then you've got your spool tension, that little knob next to the handle there that you can adjust as well. In addition to, of course, you really got to get good with your thumbs. So you've obviously got a lot of different things that you can and need to adjust depending on how you're fishing. That can add a pretty big element of challenge until you dial it in and you get skillful with it.
But maybe you waste the one cast flipping where that fish was, you spooked that fish and you weren't ready because your settings weren't right. Exactly. That's where things get frustrated. So with the settings, you're basically saying, I can quickly go from this to this to this to this, and you can set your own, right? So it allows you to say, this is my setup, this is my 1 through 4 on this reel, and then I can quickly go from one to the other and just know that I'm dialed right. So right when I walk up to that spot and I know I'm gonna make that critical first cast, boom, it's happening the way I expect it to happen.
And on the DC, you can see you still have your spool tension knob. You have this external dial right here. Corrado, does that have it? Yep. Corrado has the same thing, so you can, you know, kind of finesse your adjustments a little bit. The IREEL has none of those things. So the IREEL, here's the inside. So there's no internal adjustment. There's your, look at my thighs. There's your spool right there. There is no spool tension knob. That is just locked down, so you can't do anything with that. There is one external dial which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different adjustments on the side there. Oh, and hold that for a second. Twist that knob a little bit.
Oh yeah, this is pretty sick.
And when you turn it, it lights up. Isn't that neat?
It is kind of sick.
The charger is also on the inside of the faceplate there, and it's a magnetic charger. If you've ever had like a Garmin watch, you've probably had a charger like that before. It is a unique charger, so that's something I'll call out if you lose it, which I thought I did the other day. That's unfortunate. You're screwed. Just kidding. You can get another one from Kastking.
So there's a couple other things I want to show you that are special about this one. You get this, see how shiny it is? But it's like not cheesy. It's very heavy duty. They have a really special way
chintzy.
Chintzy, cheesy.
Somebody called it out in the comments on our budget reel video.
Cheesy. Cheesy is the word I've used it since I was 0.
We're gonna stick with cheesy. You were speaking at 0?
That's the only word I knew.
All right, so we're gonna stick with cheesy, but people in the comments were like, I think the word you're looking for is chintzy.
Cheap. We're going with that. All right, cool. So it does not feel cheap, but they use this really cool new technology for coating this thing and making it, yeah, the electroplated processing. Super cool. And then the one thing I want to call out though is there is if you guys are familiar with Daiwa, they have their TWS system. That's their special system that says basically every time you press the thumb, it opens up your line guide, meaning there's a lot less friction on your line, meaning you get further casts. And then when you engage the reel, it closes it down and it's a little tighter, and it's just managing the line like it's supposed to.
Instead of being a simple little circle or oval shape like that.
So what you're getting here, you can see you get a really tight line guide right there. There's like not a lot of room for that line to move around at all. But when you want to cast, look how open that is. So now you're getting less friction and you're getting a longer cast. So that's your line guide normally, and that's your casting setup. So they have like basically the two probably most, I would say,
innovative,
unique things going on in fishing. They have made their own version of it. They are different. IFC is different because IFC isn't just one brake like you get with the Corrado or the SLX on the DCs. It's variable, meaning when your spool is spinning really fast, it's applying more brakes, and then as your spool slows down, it applies less brakes. So it is variable. That is way more valuable, arguably, right, than the just boom, pump the brakes, which is what you get with the Shimano. And then with their line guide here, their special line guide, you're just getting something totally different than the TWS. It does the same thing in a different way. So they're not stealing, they're just making different versions of the same proprietary technology. It's expensive, we're gonna talk about that, but yeah, there's some other things going on here than just the chip.
So it's important to note here too, we're not sponsored by Kastking. They did, we feel lucky enough to have this. They did send us the IREEL 2. Want to make sure we call that out. That said, before we even had one last year, we talked pretty positively about this. And now it's like, I found out the new braking profiles and it's just jumped in my mind in terms of value. So I personally like it a lot. it's expensive. So
It's not free.
what's important to know with this reel, we wanted to get all the info out first so you could be like, okay, sounds cool, maybe it's worth it, right? Before you hear the price. Because I feel like if you just hear the price and you don't know the value of the reel, you're instantly out. Yes. And you might still be out once you hear that price. And I get it, I totally get it. So I don't know what they're gonna price this at as of the filming of this video, but the previous version of this was $350, $349.99. And then they came out with the IFC below that. It was just the IFC. I don't know what other features they took out of it, but it was 50 bucks less, $299. So chances are this one will be $300 to $350. I'm guessing $350. If not, maybe even a little bit more. So you're talking a mid $300 reel. It's not cheap. And if you don't like spending a ton of money on reels, I hear you, it's going to be challenging.
Well, we're not trying to convince you of anything. What we're trying to do is show you what the options are and try and get a good understanding of why something costs $350, $280, or $175. So that's the idea here. That's it. So the last thing I'll say is I do not think that this is the end of this. Like when Jeff talked about the braking profiles being something that's super exciting, they're just figuring out, okay, here's the information we have at hand, right? I have reel speed, control speed, and here's the controls I have with the IFC, or with the IFC, and this is what they're doing with it. So this is like, again, iteration 2. I think every single year you're going to see them do more and more with the information that's available with this reel, and it's just going to become better, smoother, faster, more user-friendly, and more affordable. So I would say the same thing for Shimano and everybody else. I think everyone else is now seeing what's happening and saying, oh crap, if we don't like jump on board, we're gonna be behind here pretty soon.
All right, you guys, so let's show you a comparison, just casting these three around for a second. I think that'll be valuable, and you can hear how the IFC doesn't actually make any sound. Here's me catching a few fish on it, and then I'm gonna have Paul flip and pitch this dock over here in a second as soon as they take over the pontoon. So we're gonna cast them for a second. Here's how they look. All right, you guys, pulling up on the old marina here. Just switch the casting out to flipping and pitching. We'll see if we can't get a fishy. Just tucking in behind these boats. Got him. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Texas. Chartreuse tip, no, my worm. There we go, got him. Get out of here, quickly. Got the Corrado DC, oof. Man, I will also say, like, I never go straight fluoro, and Paul's got this on straight fluoro. If I was gonna do that with any reel, it would be this one, for certain. Like, I would just have undue confidence in running a DC reel with fluoro versus any other bait caster that I have. Dude, I mean, distance easy, accuracy easy, really nice reel. I can definitely tell the difference just holding this between this and the SLX. But I mean, that's what you're paying almost $100, if not $100 more for with your bait caster. There's a pretty big difference in price points between the Corrado and the SLX, so it is important to note. Dude, flipping and pitching, not as easy, I would say, but that's probably the fluoro, me getting used to it, but pretty easy. On. Look at that, dude, they're all chunky here. I was gonna say, like, if you can get one. Oh, he just pooped. Gross. There you go. Oh God, he's got teeth. He's got sharp teeth. All right, I just got pooped on. Dude, you would. You would.
Oh, dude, this thing casts freaking well.
Yeah. All you got to do is twist that knob on the left side.
Yeah.
That'll, so you go lighter for lighter baits.
Yep. Honestly, it doesn't weigh anything.
No,
it's very light.
I did not expect it to be that light.
I just what? This is kind of dope. But yeah, dude, hold on, let me go into the wind. Honestly, it's pretty good.
It is.
It's pretty friggin' good. This thing is nuts. So we've got, I'm going into the wind. I got a spinner bait. I have not dialed this at all. And you just,
all right, so there you go. You guys saw that it's pretty, like, the IREEL 2 is pretty dialed in. DCs have always been reliable. They aren't invincible. So you can see here the IFC when Paul was casting there, it was a very, like, 15+ mph winds.
and I just hooked one. No thumb.
And I'll say we didn't change the braking profile on it because we didn't know it existed. So that was like out of the box, just fishing as is, not using the app, right? So it can happen. I'll also say I lost, I had the hangover on my SLX DC, the 6 cents hangover, which is a hefty line through bait, SLX DC, bird's nest, pop. She gone.
Yeah, you still have to know what you're doing. You still have to tinker with it. You still have to practice. Like,
but it helps a lot.
It helps a lot, but it's not getting rid of every problem.
Yep. So there you go. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If you're looking into robotic reels out there, if you want to join Team Skynet, Team AI, or if you just hate technology. Either way, hopefully this was informative.
It's none of those things. It's partially informative.
Hopefully this was educational and informative for you, and maybe entertaining. If it was, be sure to subscribe, smash that like, all that cool stuff, and we'll see you guys out on the water next time. Okay, bye.